don't trust me, I cannot be trusted. I'm completely untrustworthy. Everything I say is a lie. If you find any truth in what I say, it's just because you don't know how well I can lie. Everything I do is wrong. Everywhere I go, I shouldn't be. I don't like who I am. I wish I was someone else. I wish I was somewhere else. I hate my job. I hate everything about life. I wish I was cool. I wish I was trustworthy. I wish I was honest. I wish I loved myself. That and bong hits. I have a point here. You just don't hear people say stuff like that often enough. Mostly because a person doesn't want to be labeled, even if it's something that they already know that they really are. Only if it's something that is looked at by society as bad values. So if a person's the kind of person who steals and lies, of course they're not going to come out and tell people. But we know there are plenty of them. You can't hide who you are if you are that kind of person from a person who's aware. I think having awareness of personality types, like I've said before, that learning a little bit of psychology can go a long way in life. And it helps you not only to know who you would like, but who you should avoid based on certain eye movements or comments or actions a person may take. But nobody's going to come out and say, I'm untrustworthy. As far as the I hate myself thing, there are plenty of people who say that. But they usually don't say it in a meaningful way to help themselves. They say it out loud to others to get pity. So there are two different forms of self-abuse. There is the self-pity, self-abuse, so you can make yourself feel better by telling others and then having them respond to it. And then there's the real self-abuse of knowing the truth about yourself but not exposing that. We all have this intuition about our behavior, and we know when we've done something wrong. It just resonates with us. I hope that's true. I really hope that a majority of the people out there know what I'm talking about when I say this. And I hope that most people get a gut feeling when they've said something they shouldn't have said. And I think that most people do. But I don't speak on the behalf of everyone. I try not to generalize and say that everyone has the same emotions. But when I make an error, I know it. And when I talk bad about myself or something I don't like about myself, I just don't do it because I see it as a pity thing. Like people, you're looking for pity. Unfortunately, some people need pity because they can't behave any other way. There are people that are addicted to pity, literally addicted to, the people that hurt themselves to get attention. I mean, it's a serious condition that people really have. They put themselves in bad health situations in order to get others to take care of them because it's, and the only reason that they know about it medically is because it becomes obvious when a person can see it. When a person's doing something to hurt themselves on purpose and acting suicidal, you can see its call for attention. But what if the person is, let's say, doing something a little more subtle to get attention, like maybe making random hints at things about themselves that they don't like, but putting it in a format to where the person's like, oh, I feel sorry for them, but can't quite put their finger on it. Um, I have a lot of empathy for people who are in bad situations, and I've been there. I've been through a lot of shit in my life, but I've had it pretty easy. And I guess that's the perspective that I think that everyone should have, is to look at your life and go, wow, I've seen a lot, I've done a lot, but it was no problem at all because it could have been worse. Now, there's that 1% of people who have had it the worst, and they don't have a lot that they can leverage their perspective on. But for the majority of people, I think that you can always look at somebody who is in a wheelchair if you're not, or is blind if you can see. There's always something. And even if you are blind and in a wheelchair, maybe you can still hear. I mean, there's goodness in everything, but life is rough. It's rough. Um, when you take a different look at it, stop looking at it as rough. I guess it's just you just follow the system along and just do your thing. Make an impact as best you can, but don't be angry when you can't shake the whole tree. And at the same time, don't go hide under the tree. Just be there, be exposed, make yourself heard, in life, but carry your values strong. Um, when you feel that intuition, I think, about doing something wrong, look at it as a lesson, a way to say, okay, I don't want to feel this way again. A good example would be a person who's quit drugs for a long time. Let's just even say something really mild like pot, because it's a good one that I can familiarize with. I smoked pot for like 15, 20 years and then had to quit for probation. And I just quit cold turkey for 2 years. And it took me so long to adjust to that new way of thinking, because but I put myself in a frame of mind where I didn't look at it as a bad thing. I looked at it as a positive change, a way for me to move forward in life, and experience something different. And it was, and then it was over, and times like that test our values, I guess. And I had another point to that, but anyway, I guess it must be the marijuana. I'm not in denial that I also, that's one of those things, and that's what it is. I beat myself up over shit like that, like beating myself up over smoking weed, even though it's rather harmless. And I think that it's important to beat ourselves up to an extent. That's to back to the beginning of what I was saying of saying negative things about yourself. I don't like myself, or I don't like what I'm doing. It's okay if it's used constructively. Just like I've said, negativity can be used constructively. It's a positive force if you turn it into a positive force. And it's up to you guys to make that negative a positive, no matter how negative it is. So my marijuana habit. How do I make me forgetting what I was going to say in my sentence, into, and I'm surprised I'm even coherent enough to put together a video when I'm stoned. I try to do these when I'm sober, but I enjoy doing pretty much everything stoned. I like it better. And I knock myself down and beat myself up over it sometimes, thinking, gotta live the straight life, the straight and narrow life. And I think, what is the straight life? I mean, what is this thing people talk about? There's not a person on earth who's not affected by chemicals. Whether you ingest these cannabinoids through smoking pot, or you ingest opiates through consumption, smoking, shooting, eating, whether you consume cocaine, uh, what's the difference between the chemicals that are released naturally, the endogenous chemicals within your body, the dopamine, and when you go shopping, or you purchase something that you shouldn't buy, but you do it because of the rush you get when you purchase it, and you get buyer's remorse the next day. Person gets drunk one night and buys something online they shouldn't have got, or all these little things you do on the side. People don't realize they're doing that as an addiction. It's a habit too, and I have it too. I have this And that's where I get angry at myself. I have this thing where I have a really high stress level. I'm always vibrating at a very high rate. I'm not talking about like, you know, like I'm ascending, that kind of shit. I'm saying that like my body is just go go go, and I have this intense metabolism where I just process food really quick, in and out. I don't really need much. And I like to move. I can just keep going. I always have energy no matter what, and that's what's got me interested in, you know, people talking about diet and whatnot, and how you got to eat certain things to feel positive and be really healthy. And I don't really eat that much stuff. I just eat what I do. I try to eat healthy, but still, I find myself beating myself up over what I do eat, and I got to stop it because, you know, I am who I am, and I'm doing what I'm doing, and I guess it's just human nature to. Well, there's two approaches to it. You can either justify what you're doing to yourself that's bad by finding all the good sides to it, or you can admit that what you're doing is bad and say, well, it is what it is. Like with pot, you know, the benefits are I really enjoy being stoned. You know, the negatives are it could possibly, if you smoke enough, cause lung problems, but that's not likely because from all the research I've done over the years, THC and all the other chemicals, you know, there may be a few carcinogens in there, but that's irrelevant because people have actually had you know, been relieved from asthma, you know, by smoking pot. It's amazing, you know. It has a reverse effect on the cilia in your lungs or something. I can't remember, but I used to be really into all that stuff, and I just thought, okay, I can justify smoking pot by this is all the good things about it. And now I don't. I just say it is what it is. It may get me unmotivated sometimes to do the things I need to do, but I do other things instead, you know.